Hello and welcome to Three Grots in a Vox. Are we still calling it Three Grots in a Vox? Are we Three Grots and a Vox?
Yes.
I don't know. Does it matter?
Yes. No. Not. Maybe. Something. Yes.
One of those.
Stop.
Anyway,
Stop. Get on with
it. Get on with it. You do. No, right. So today we are talking about what are we talking about, Mark?
We're talking about assassins. Then we're talking
put you
about
on the spot, and you can't keep up either, can you?
Shut up.
So it's assassins today. We're going to talk about all four of the assassins, whether we think they are good or whether we think they are shit. We're going to probably aim this a little bit more to sort of the Blood Angels because we're a little bit more familiar with that. But we do all play other armies, so we can talk about it a little bit from other areas as well. We've also got our segment about our piles of glory, because we're not allowed to call it piles of shame. And I think pile of glory sounds vaguely sexual.
Because we have no shame here.
And then we've got a special segment for one final model that we're going to do after the pile of shame, glory, because Mark thinks you'll all switch off if we put it before it. So without further ado, back the tier list.
I'll appreciate reason. I mean, great on.
Is the tier list ready before we begin, or do we need to spend the next 5 minutes talking shit so that John gets the tier list ready?
Why are we tier listing 4 models anyway?
It's not 4 models, it's 5.
Yeah, but you've just given away the bonus model now.
Yeah, to be fair, the bonus model is there. I mean, I'll try and put your hand over the screen over the first model and you'll be good.
Yeah, don't look at it. Just steer your eyes away from that corner.
Indeed. I got a question about him. Why, if he is the Imperium's biggest strategist and manager and person who administers everything and keeps it all running, why does that make him, in Games Workshop's mind, French?
Is he French?
Roboute Guilliman.
That's fairly French, isn't it? Yeah.
I never understood that as being sort of like a particular set of French strengths, if that makes any sense.
I feel like you're getting just edging towards xenophobia there, Mark. Oh, I've got to address an elephant in the room. This isn't beer. I'm afraid it's coffee. I'm getting over COVID. So my wife tells me I'm not allowed to drink any beer at the moment, and now I've got to drink coffee, and it's an Ultramarines mug.
John
I'm sorry about
that. Yeah, so Tony answering the questions nobody asked. There we go.
It's important. Someone's going to ask.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Emperor may have been to France shortly before the Primarchs were born, I guess.
Right, I mean, if you can't drink, I can. Give me a second.
Don't know why else.
Scottish in the there we go. Yeah.
You're mead again.
Yeah, I fucking love it.
Weird. Right, let's talk about some important things. Let's have a look at these assassins. What's our first assassin, John?
I think it's going to be the Calidus assassin. We'll do alphabetical order because that's the way they appear in Wikipedia, and we all love the totally legit version of the Games Workshop rules that we would all love.
Aren't they getting sued?
Wikipedia, no. As far as I'm aware, they're in Russia, and in Russia.
I imagine the Russian guy who runs it gives no fucks.
A bit of new news. Games Workshop in the last week or so have put a cease and desist order out to Wikipedia. They're going to ignore it completely, but they have made a big deal of putting one out.
Fair enough.
Well, good for them.
Well, that's going to be annoying when we can't get the rules so easily.
Yeah,
but
no, that's going to have no effect, is it? The Russians aren't going to care.
I support the guy on Patreon because I appreciate the service he provides. So I'm going to have to chuck in a few quid a month for it. It's good. Works for me.
In Soviet Russia, rules read you or something, you know? Okay, yeah, we're going to start with Calidus Assassin. And Assassins was something that we never tier listed over on the Blood Angels Commander channel. So if you're here from that channel, then I appreciate if you hit the like button on the video. It does help us out. Let's talk about the Calidus then. And the Assassins are pretty standard in terms of like movement, ballistic skill, weapon skill, all that sort of stuff. But the Calidus has 7, 2+2+, strength and toughness 4, wounds 5, attacks 5, 9 leadership, and then the 6+ save. But she does have lightning reflexes, giving her that 4 up in vulnerable save. The cool thing about the Calidus, I guess, is when she does come in from Deep Strike, she doesn't have to be set up the full 9 inches away. She's set up D6 plus 3 away. Usually what that means is that's the one time in the game that you roll a 6 and you end up 9 inches away anyway, so it's not really reliable. Far too many times I've seen that happen. She can shoot and charge. There's no way to re-roll it
either, is there?
I'm going to interrupt here, but I was looking at this. What you could roll is spend a CP on acrobatic, giving you advance and charge. Can you advance?
You can't advance on the turn you are. You can't use anything that moves you.
Although you lose your shooting, it's not in the shooting phase, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Well done, Tony.
I thought I was being clever for a minute.
Almost. But she can shoot and charge in a turn which she fell back. She also has Reign of Confusion, which is pretty nice ability. Have you guys ever had Reign of Confusion used against you?
I've used it a few times. This is about the only assassin that I regularly use, mostly because I like starting off every time they roll for a CP, going Reign of Confusion. And you get that extra drama from using this assassin. It's a bit unreliable, but when it works, it's hilarious. Especially if they're tight for CP.
I built a Raven Guard army where it's stacked for their ability that fucks with your opponent using CP, and brought one of these to fuck with the opponent using CP, and brought Inquisitor Kotias so I can use his ability as well to fuck with the opponent when they're using CP. And it didn't do very much at the time, I'll be honest with you. It wasn't that great, but it was a good idea.
Sounds quite fun, doesn't it?
Yeah. And also, if you want current rules for assassins, they're in this book.
War of the Spider.
Yeah.
I haven't got that one. I really want to see if I can find all the Psychic Awakening books. Just so I want to sit and read the fluff.
I eBayed it.
They don't typically make huge changes to these edition on edition, because I know right now, they just announced today, I believe it was, that there's going to be a new book on Inquisition, but typically, like, edition to edition, it feels like there isn't typically that many changes between the Assassins and Inquisition.
I'm really worried,
right?
because currently, if you subscribe to the 40k app, either through its little app subscription thing or through Warhammer Plus or whatever, you get access to all the stuff that's not had a 9th edition codex as part of your subscription. By putting it in one of the new 9th edition Kill Team books, they take it out of you getting it as part of your sub, and mean you have to buy the book to get the rules for Inquisition as part of the code in the back of this book, in the app and all that sort of shit. So if the rules are no different, by putting the same rules in a new book, they're doing you out of rules you already get.
That's a bit cheeky, but
I really hope the rules
me.
are different. I really hope they're actually going to be useful.
Yeah.
Anyway, minor rant.
Okay, so you arrive D6 plus 3 away.
Yep.
You have a Neural Shredder, Assault 1. And basically, if a hit is scored, do not make a run roll 3d6. If it's greater than the target's leadership characteristic, take d3 mortal wounds, so probably a good way to pump out a few mortal wounds. The Phase Sword is basically a power sword or a mastercrafted power sword, but with no +1, and invulnerable saves can't be made against it. And then you always make one additional attack with Poison Blade, which is basically just a -1 damage hit that will always wound on a 3+ unless the target is a vehicle. So kind of
4 extra abilities in there as well, which are all hover-overable keywords that you've got. And one of them, Agent of the Imperium, is a critical one, because that means you can take an assassin in your army without breaking faction purity rules. You can still have all your Blood Angel specific stuff or Raven Guard specific stuff or whatever. Even though you've got... Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, and you can take... It's one assassin per detachment, per patrol or battalion.
Or one agent of the Imperium per detachment. So that could be an assassin or it could be an Inquisitor or whatever, yeah.
So if you're running double patrol, then you can bring 2 of these. I mean, that would make you very character heavy, but you can do it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Independent operative means they can't do something. They can never have a warlord trait for what that matters, and they deploy in reserves if you want to, which is fine. And lightning reflexes, I think, is a 4-up invan.
Yeah,
which is cool.
Yeah, my favourite thing with all of these assassins, rather than talking about it all the time, is that shadow assignment strat. It's 2 CP, but it's brilliant to be able to swap these out for the one that you're going to need.
Oh, gotcha.
That's fantastic because it really does mess with your opponent. Yeah, especially in a tournament setting where they're expecting to play against one thing. Swapping it out can be quite a big deal.
All the assassins are 95 points, just flat.
100 points.
100. I think they changed the points in the.
Okay.
Yeah, they all went up to 100.
But what's also interesting is 0 CP and all those like stratagems for 0 CP. If you do kill an enemy character, you gain 1 command point, or 2 if it was the warlord. So you can only use this stratagem once for each enemy character model destroyed. Meaning, if your assassin is able to nip in and kill a couple of characters, that is a way to generate a couple of CPs back for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that can be used on all the assassins as well.
Yeah. And you got the 2 Calidus specific ones right there, which are fairly useful, particularly acrobatic. That's really cool.
Yeah. So Supreme Deception's a little bit of a gimmick. It's the same. It just means you can run your Reign of Confusion second turn as well.
It's a bit expensive 2 CP.
Yeah, and it's unlikely to cost your opponent more, depending on what your opponent's doing. If they've held off using the strats because they're worried about it in turn 1,
Yeah.
and making them hold off again for turn 2 can
Then
be
again,
quite powerful.
if you're someone like me who likes to start an army with 10 or 11 CP, and then you're someone like, I don't know, some unnamed fool who likes to start their armies with 5 or 6 CP, then that might hurt them a lot more than it hurts me to spend 10 CP to do that.
I think my current list has got 3 CP starting in it.
Jesus.
So you can spend 1 stratagem if the enemy has a Calidus assassin.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't run the Calidus assassin myself much. What about either of you guys?
If I was picking a assassin just to be a general take all comers and not paying attention to the meta, it would probably be this one. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think
he's generally useful against almost all opponents. You can find ways to use her. Yeah, she's good. And then you've obviously got the opportunity to swap her out for Shadow Assignment and just pick a different assassin if you need to meta it for whatever opponent you're facing. Yeah.
I've run one in Combat Patrol a few times, and in Combat Patrol, they're almost broken. Well, for a start, you only start with 3 CP anyway. So suddenly Reign of Confusion becomes a real problem for your opponent, because especially if they've got lots of expensive strats that they were planning on.
By Combat Patrol, you mean 1,000 points, right?
No, I mean the 500 point, the little tiny ones.
Okay, fair enough.
Which is really, really powerful. And also something that can ignore invuln saves. I've probably only got 1 character. I mean, that pop this up and kill their character on sort of turn 2. It can be incredibly powerful in that tiny game. But I tend to find that the bigger the game gets, the less useful she gets.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that probably sounds fair. I think when I looked at this before, I think like if it's a toughness 4 enemy character with like a 4-up invulnerable save and a 3-up normal save, then I guess she's pretty good against that, right? Because she does get 5 attacks. You're hitting on 2s, you know, so you're gonna force them to make a couple of saves, probably on like a 6+ save because they can't use an invulnerable save. Then you've got the poison blades coming in, and potentially when you arrive from deep strike, you could do D3 mortal wounds. So if you think about, like, if you're bringing her in to kill a Space Marine character that is T4 and has 5 wounds, I'd say she's got a pretty good chance, unless you have bad dice rolls, which happens. I'd say it's like a 75% chance she could just outright kill that character if there's space for her to deep strike in next to her. But against anything else that's higher than T4, I guess her effectiveness falls off pretty quickly.
Yeah, I've used her a few times, and she fairly reliably kills 1 thing. And if that 1 thing is something that's really important, then it's a good thing. And if it's not something important, or you fail to kill it, because she's going to die as soon as the goes back to the opponent's turn. You know, that 4-up invuln's not going to last long.
Your opponent is generally going to screen stuff out on a 9-inch bubble, but you can't screen this out on a 9-inch bubble. They've got to factor in what the worst case is going to be, assuming you roll a 1 or a 2 on the D6, at which point the bubble is 4 or 5 inches. So it's going to be a lot harder to screen this one out than you think.
I found opponents generally get more worried about it than it really warrants. But yeah, she'll pop up, she'll kill something, and then she'll die.
Yeah.
Basically.
But if your opponent's worried about it, then that affects how they play and what they deploy and how they
Definitely,
move.
and I think
that's nothing but good.
That's probably the most important thing she brings.
Okay, do you want to run through all the assassins first before we put them into the list, or do you want to put this one in now? What do you think?
I say we run through them, and then we can sort of see which ones we reckon is best.
I was going to say, bang her in now. It's fine. We can do it.
You're just going to put them all in C and call it a day?
No, you're not. None of them are that shit. None of them are shit. None of them are sort of C shit. They're all like B.
All right, well, yeah, why don't we start with her then? Do we think she's a B? She's effective against, I guess, killing one character, like Tony just said, and then she dies. So if
she drops in and kills Dante, who's 170 points or whatever, then I feel that she's generally made her money back, because you've still got that Reign of Confusion in turn 1 as well, and she's killed a 170 point character, and she's forced them to redeploy, then in which case she's been pretty instrumental.
And why did you have to bring up Dante there? Why couldn't she have killed somebody else? You had to kill Dante, didn't you?
It was because I know she can kill him. But if she pops in and kills, like, I don't know, a platoon commander for guard, and that's all the best target you've got, then she really wasn't worth 100 points.
Then you probably swap her out at the start of the battle with Shadow Assignment. Yeah, whatever.
Sure.
And I think that's what goes for all of them, doesn't it?
So where are we putting this?
It doesn't suck. I can see reason to take her in a fight. I'll put her in B.
Yeah, go on, stick her in a B.
All right, that's where we're starting Calidus Assassin into the B. Next up, then, let's do Calixtus Assassin, and the Calixtus is our anti-Psyker Assassin. And I've got mixed feelings on this. Do one of you guys want to jump in first?
No. Go on. You got mixed feelings. Go for it.
So someone put in an army list to their live show over the Blood Angels channel a few weeks back, saying that they ran this along with the Relic of Galithmore. Is it the one that also gives -1 to psychic tests? It's a and they said that they ran it up against a Thousand Suns list, and it literally did nothing, because Thousand Suns are at a point now where like -3 to psychic tests doesn't matter. They're still generally good enough with their rerolls and with their Cabal points to get like +2 to casts.
If you use your Cabal points, you can definitely get a spell off. But the problem with Cabal points is you have to, you can't keep using the same ability with that. So you can add a load to it, but you can only do that once. And then all the other spells you're trying to get off are at -3. Yeah, sometimes you've got a reroll or something. But if you're running at -3 on something that's a warp charge of 7, it's pretty hard to get off even with a reroll.
Yeah,
so I don't think that's entirely fair.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess they just didn't feel like it gave them enough value. But that's maybe... I mean, it is only 18 inches. I guess Thousand Suns, I believe, can extend their powers to 24 now, right?
Yeah, they can.
So I guess like if the Thousand Sun player is wise and positioned wise, and then... Yeah,
So if they're doing that, you've got a Thousand Suns army, which is entirely psychic, and you've got one, maybe 2 models designed to do something against psychic. It's not going to affect the whole army. Logically,
No.
it can't.
You can play around it, and that's what you have to do if you're going to be doing that. Or you play around and shoot him. Yeah, okay, you can't psyker him, but they've still got guns. Okay, this guy, you can hit him on a 6. You've got to hit him on a 6, but you fire enough stuff at him, and you're going to hit him, and he's still only a toughness 4. 5 wounds is pretty good, but he's still only got his 4+ invuln.
Any assassin is fragile as crap if you can get to a point where you're actually hurting them. Let's face it, the reason why you're taking this guy, if you're taking him at all, is because of the Ethereum ability.
Yeah, he's very annoying. He can, and in fact, he ignores the armor saves as well. It means you can stick him in combat with some really unpleasant things. They're unlikely to hit him, and he's going to chew them away, and it's going to take ages for him to kill.
Does that really matter though? I mean, he's hitting you with what, strength for 4 attacks, so they ignore armor saves. Yeah.
So he's going to do a little bit of damage. It's going to take it. The thing is, he doesn't kill things. He just doesn't die that quick. And if he holds up your unit of Blight Lord Terminators or something, then that could be worth it. Or you stick him into Mortarion.
Yeah, and I guess he also has the Fight Last Soul Horror 3 inches bubble, right? So he can make multiple enemy units fight last. So I guess that maybe you're right. Maybe the anti-psyker portion of this character is the weaker portion. And I know he can target psychic characters, but even so, his guns feel a little bit lackluster, or his weapons feel a little bit lackluster, especially the grenade with like minus, strength 2 or something. And
even if you use his strat. Yeah, his strat bumps up the damage of his gun from 1 to D3. Wow.
He's still assault D3 shots. It's not great.
It's not going to do a lot, is it? I mean, it's only 1 CP, but it's still not exactly...
No, I think you've touched on it. I think he's much better as a delayer because you only hit him on 6s. And also as another way to get fight last. If you don't want to run a Whirlwind, for example, or you don't want to run Judiciar, then I guess this is the other option to make sure that the enemy have to fight last in some critical engagement.
Expensive in CP to do so, but a very effective one in doing so.
But it's an area. Most of the other ones are choose a target, whereas this is enemy units within 3 inches. So if you made the charge into 3 enemy units, you can basically make all of them fight last, which I guess could be pretty valuable.
At the right time, the right place. Totally agree.
I think, you've just got to try and use him for what he's for, which is he's just that roadblock, isn't he? And I think that's what we saw, because we did see him pop up in a few tournament lists at one point, and that's what they were using him as, just something to sit there and be annoying. And that -2 to psychic tests, although it's not his major thing, is annoying for some armies. It is going to have an effect, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Thousand Suns is they are the enigma to the rule, I guess. If you were just up against a normal psychic army that's got like one psyker who's casting stuff like, for example, Null Zone on a 7, changing Null Zone from a 7 to 9 is a pretty big deal, right?
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Because we know that the 9-inch, even with a reroll, or when you need 9 to charge with a reroll, it's like a 50-50 if that goes off, at best, I
If
feel
you get
like.
lucky.
Yeah. So, okay. He's the best psyker for... Sorry, he's the best assassin for anti-psyker. But if he does much damage, it's going to be a bonus. Yes, I guess if you throw him into a unit that doesn't have an invulnerable save, he can chew through them reasonably efficiently. And if it is just a standard, I guess if we use Thousand Suns, if he was fighting Ruberic Marines, for example, they're very unlikely to hit him in close combat, and he's going to basically counter, for example, all his dust, because it won't even matter, because they just won't get a saving throw. So I guess that there's some situations, I guess, where the life drain special rule is actually pretty powerful. So yeah, I think the Calixtus is, for me, is at least a B, same as the other one.
I think that he's a good solid B tier as well.
Just as deserving in a different fashion. If you take him in your army, you want to have a strategy in your mind for how you're going to make use of him. You can't just like chuck him in and expect him to do stuff and win the day for you. You want to know exactly what you want to be getting out of him and how. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
I think that goes for all the assassins, though, really. I mean, the one that's the most versatile, I'd say, probably is that Calidus, but all of them, they're so focused in on what they do.
I don't know. You can take the Eversaw and not need any strategy whatsoever. It's just point,
You're right, just
click, death.
All right, that's where we'll go next. Eversaw Assassin. And Eversaw Assassin was actually the first assassin I ever owned. I got the old metal version of him, and I liked him a lot. He obviously has his pistol 4 with reroll wounds against infantries, and it's a -1 pistol. When you get into combat, you can basically have almost like his version of a lightning claw, the Neuro Gauntlet, reroll wounds again at -1, or a power sword. He has a decent amount of attacks, and it's 6. He also has melta bombs, but with a weird old ruling of the melta bombs, where it's like
he's got an extra wound over the other assassins as well, if you noticed.
Yeah.
Gets more attacks on the charge.
Yep, and he can explode if he dies on a 4+, doing mortal wounds. Each time enemy units fall back, he can shoot at them as if it was a shooting phase. He can charge on 3d6 rather than 2d6, and like you said, 2 more attacks if he's charged or if he does a heroic intervention. Each time a model and enemy unit is destroyed as a result of an attack made by a melee weapon, you can immediately make 1 additional attack with the melee weapon against the same unit. They cannot generate further attacks, but the model can also consolidate 6 inches as well. And then he's got pretty cool two, as well as having the ability to change him and the assassination for the characters as well. You also get the ability to get basically like a 4-up shrug against mortal wounds. Against everything but mortal wounds, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And also you can fight for a second time in combat if your 8 attacks with your power sword or your gauntlets plus bonus attacks for every model you kill wasn't enough.
The weapons are a bit rubbish. The Neuro Gauntlet's a shit lightning claw, and the power sword's just a power sword. But he's got so many attacks, it stops mattering at a certain point.
2s and
It's just a blender.
Yeah, he blends enemy infantry. The way that I would play this guy is you would arrive from Deep Strike, you would pistol for 1 unit, and then you would charge hopefully another unit. You'd probably wipe out like a good amount of that other unit, and then if you want to, you could almost just consolidate into the other unit and go hit me, and if you do kill me, maybe I'll just bio meltdown and explode on you.
Yeah. If you got no idea what assassin to take and you want to take one, I'd always default to this one, because it's just always going to do something.
It's always funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
You make funny screaming noises, you call him Eddie the Eversaw, and you just run him at the nearest thing.
Yeah, and his melta bombs in some ways it's basically an infernal pistol, but you reroll the wounds, but only against vehicles. It's a fun It's a fun version of Melta Bombs. I forget if Melta Bombs ever had this profile in previous editions before they made it a stratagem, but I assume they did.
I think they did.
Yeah.
Trying to think if I've got any of the old codexes handy, but no, I think I've packed them all away.
You used to be able to use them in melee, and you can't with this one. But
you used to give up all your attacks or whatever, didn't you? And then you could plant a melter bomb on a vehicle or monster, and then you just got like a melter gun shot, but in combat.
That's so last edition. Oh wow. Anyway,
yeah,
I think this is better than the new melter bomb.
Yeah, I think it's better because it doesn't cost you CP, and I guess because he's got the 6 wounds and because he's got the 4-up save, and because you get that 3d6 charge, a 3d6 charge is pretty reliable on the 9-inch. I can actually probably work that out using that Any Dice website that I typically use. You want me to do? You guys keep talking, then I'll tell you what.
I think average would be about 11 off the top of my head. At a guess, 10 and a half, something like that.
Yeah, makes sense.
74% chance to make a charge
reroll
on 3d6. That's a little bit more complicated. Yeah, I can.
Just in your own time, John.
Yeah. I was in a live roleplay event, 40k, which hasn't run in the last 2 years, and I'm really fucking missing them. And one of the events we went to was a treasure world that some rogue trader had put together all of their trophies and shit in a place that had become taken over by Tyranids or something, because he decided to pick up Tyranids because he was a moron. And then we went to go and loot his giant treasure haul, which was great. But in one in the biostasis container was an Eversaur assassin. So we left that one alone and we wandered away. And then later on during the event, we got told there'd been a power failure and the Eversaur assassin was loose and woken up. And we were just like, it's dark, middle of the night, in a scout camp up near Dundee in Scotland. And you got all these like woods and shrubs all around the main hut. And we know that this one guy, who's a sneaky bastard at the best of times. I love the guy. He's great. Such a cool bloke. But he's so sneaky. And he was just going around with the little sort of shrubs and woods around the scout hut where we're all gathered inside, because we know he's out there somewhere, just trying to pick one of us off playing an Eversaur. It's like, oh god, horrible. Great fun. Anyway, sorry, little story.
No problem. 93.
It's all right, you covered up.
93% chance to make that charge with
That's
a reroll.
pretty good, isn't it?
So
it's going to be annoying that 7% when you don't know, isn't it?
Yeah,
if you want to do deep strike charges with Blood Angels, then you could do a lot worse than put this guy in your army.
Yeah,
a lot worse.
Very true, and a very good amount of attacks. Like you said, it's a power sword, so it's going to be carving up Marines, I guess, or whatever, and the ability to fight twice as well. I mean, it'd be pretty interesting to. I imagine this guy probably kills like a whole squad of Inceptors or Intercessors from full health, with or without the additional 2 CP. On a good roll, maybe you don't need it, but with it, you probably definitely do.
I reckon it'd kill about 3, maybe 4.
Yeah, you won't kill a squad.
Even if you shoot the squad?
Yeah, that pistol's rubbish, to be honest. It's good for a pistol, but you know, you're wounding on a 4, reroll on that, so you're going to get, what was that, about?
Yeah.
So you're likely to get 3 wounds through AP -1, so you're going to get, maybe you might kill 1 with a pistol.
I mean, you'll bounce off stuff like Grey Knight Terminators, you'll bounce off Custodes, Drakari will fuck up quite happily.
Oh yeah, he's going to love killing Drakari.
And Admech, for that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what? Those big Vanguard squads of 20 guys, I guess they would overwatch the shit out of them, I guess. But it would be a good way to burn some Admech CP, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if he got in, he could, with that getting the extra attacks rule, he could quite happily carve up a big chunk of a squad.
Mm.
Yeah, I actually like that a lot against Admech. If he got in, if you manage to drop him 9 inches away, if you drop him 9 inches away in an obscuring position so that they can't overwatch you, 93% chance of making the charge, you're getting 8 attacks, you're hitting on 2s, you're wounding on 3s, they're -1, so they're straight away on their 5-up in Van, and so they have to take about 8 saves, 6 or 7 saves at -1 on their 5-up in Van. For every failed save, it's a dead model, and you get an additional hit, I guess.
Yeah.
Next time you play Sisters, John, take one of these. Just charge it into his Repentia and fuck him up, or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they're a pinch of fight on death, but there's definitely some other good targets in there that.
It's out on death. They kill him. He blows up. You win. What's wrong? What's not to love?
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I actually think you could do a lot of work if you have the 2 CP for the stim overload. Yeah, you could wipe like 15 admech guys in a single turn or something like that. All right, cool. Do we rate him as a B as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think he's a solid B.
I'm trying to think if I want to say that he's good enough to go into A.
I don't think he is, because against
useful
too
enough.
many armies, he's going to be fairly useless.
He'll bounce off just a few too many matchups, I think.
Okay.
When
Even
he's
things
good,
like
he's
Death
great,
Guard and that,
but he won't
he's
be
going
good
to have a
against
bit of trouble.
Yeah. Although he's only doing 1 damage, so I'm going to get reduced. But yeah.
No, but he's only strength 5, so he's going to be wounding him on 4s.
Yeah, it's a
And
little...
then that's going to make a big chunk out of his damage potential.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I guess
wounds.
if you were up against Death Guard, you would just pay the 2 CP and Shadow Assignment him, though, and get someone else in the battle, wouldn't you?
I don't know who I would, though, if I'm honest. Maybe the Caluxus, to be honest, to stick him in front of something big and let him get stuck with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take I think the Caluxus would be best against Death Guard as well, because you just have that fight last potential. And
then any bonus you can get to making Morty's powers not happen would be useful as well. So yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
Cool.
Oh shit, wrong tab to close. And then I guess assassin number 4, and the last one we want to talk about right now is the Vindicator assassin.
Should be the coolest and the most awesome.
Well, he is the coolest. He is the coolest. You see, I used the picture from that new fancy one.
Yeah. You going to get one of those?
Yeah, I am. Definitely.
Am I right in thinking that they're only sending those out once you've been a member for a year?
Unless you were already subscribing to the app and you upgraded your membership to Warhammer Plus from the app, at which point you get it after 9 months rather than a year. Yes.
Okay.
I think you get it earlier if you pay for the whole year up front as well.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, that might be right.
I've got loads of these. I mean, I've got this is the newest plastic one. You're not going to be able to see him because he's just undercoated. I've got the 2 metal old ones that I've got painted, and I'm going to get that new shiny one. He is by far the coolest looking, I think, of the assassins.
Everybody loves snipers.
It's just a pity that he's the shittest.
Yeah, that's where I was going next. I think he's the most swingy. I don't know if he's the shittest. I think he's the most swingy, right?
I wonder if GW have got a problem with snipers, just in general, making them a little bit too useless so that they don't become too overpowering with their rules. Because in general, you find snipers are always a little bit underwhelming.
I mean, if you're using him, it's super cool when you get that headshot rule off and you blow someone up and you just kill off and you start popping all their characters and things. But if you're on the receiving end of that, it's pretty rubbish. And I think that's why they maybe do nerf the snipers a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it is 72 inches. He can literally be deployed anywhere. So if he was going to be able to headshot a model, let's say, more than once or twice a game, it would become broken very quickly, I guess. I
think it would make people not want to play him.
If you deploy him anywhere, though, if you deploy him on his own, in a tower, as a sniper should be, then your opponent can just shoot him with some long-range firepower and he'll die, because he's got no protection against lookout, so if he's on his own in a tower with a nice viewpoint.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
And I think, actually, that new model, which has got that giant bit of scenery around him, that, as far as I can tell, you can't remove, that's solely to make him even easier to kill and harder to hide.
He does have the stealth suit ability, right? So he is -1 to hit, and if he's on terrain, technically he's still -1 to hit because you can never be modified by more than.
Yeah.
Ask your Storm Raven how valuable that -1 to hit is.
Yeah, it's not. But I guess the difference between him and a Storm Raven is he is an invulnerable save.
Yeah, and he's only 100 points.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the interesting thing was he's got the rifle and he's got the pistol. They both always wound infantry models on 2+. Invulnerable save cannot be made against them. So typically they'll just be saving on their -3. And you can also pay some CP for double kill, can't you? And you can shoot basically one of his guns at 2 different characters or 2 different targets. It's going to typically be characters.
Let's face it, if you're taking this guy, you're going to do that, because why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I think you need to.
Yeah, didn't make the most of it if you're taking him.
Otherwise, you're just not going to get his value back. I mean, he's best at killing fairly light. I mean, let's look at his rifle, really. Heavy 1, so you get 1 shot, strength 5, AP -3, D3 damage. You have got that headshot rule, but really what he's good at is killing fairly lightly armoured. He's great at killing off your platoon commanders and
chaplains,
commissars,
apothecaries, stuff like that.
You know, lightweight stuff that doesn't have an invuln save and not particularly heavily armoured.
Well, it doesn't matter if they have an invuln save anyway,
save or
because
not.
you can't use it.
Oh, no, you're right, yes.
Can shoot through, yeah.
So
They've taken that void killer round thing or whatever it was and built it in. Which is cool.
Yeah, that used to be cool when you had the 4 different bullets or whatever when you started the game.
I'm glad they got rid of that because it makes...
Yeah, but it was cool.
It was
I had
cool.
4 different painted bullets that I used to take to the games.
Oh,
And
well.
I'd spend it. That was pretty
Okay.
fun. The turbo penetrator round, that's something that's interesting. D3 mortal wounds, just flat if you hit.
Yep.
I think that could be worth a CP if you've got some sort of horrible vehicle that's sort of toughness 8,
Oh, yeah.
sitting on 1 or 2 wounds.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
Definitely worth a CP. He's not that bad, I suppose, but I do think he's probably the worst of the assassins.
Yeah,
I'll do that to kill a Catan. Quite
I was
happily.
going to say, what was the difference between the turbo penetrator round and what was the... We have one in the Blood Angels Codex where you could spend 1 CP to make like a heavy bolter do like...
The
D3.
Hellfire shells.
Hellfire rounds, yeah.
Is there any difference between those two? I think it was just the same, was it?
Hellfire will work against anything that's not a vehicle, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Because it's meant to be... It was developed as an anti-Tyranid weapon.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fluff behind it. Then you got the flak missile, which is flyers only and does more wounds against that sort of stuff.
So it's basically just a Hellfire shot almost that can be gone on vehicles or monsters. I think you're right.
Yeah.
You could kill a Catan off pretty nicely. You could... The enemy have some other big vehicle, Dreadnought or something with Duty Eternal that you're struggling to get rid of the last wound.
Yeah.
Just pop it
I
for...
think it's not bad.
You know, it's pretty reliable, I guess. You just have to make a hit roll of a 2. If he stands still, he always hits on a 2. You know.
I mean, let's look at his abilities. So he's got dead shot. Each time you select a target, if it's a character, your wound roll of a 6 means your D6 damage. That's pretty nice. Faultless aim, always hitting him on a 2. Headshot. Now this is his big money ability, as it were. If after resolving an attack with the Exodus pistol or Exodus rifle by this model, a model in an enemy unit lost any wounds as a result of that attack but was not destroyed, roll a d6. On a 3+, that model suffers a mortal wound. If that model is not destroyed, you can keep rolling a d6. On a 4+, it's a mortal wound. 5+, 6+, so on and so forth. That's pretty tasty.
Yeah,
That
and that's
can
exactly
kill things.
why I would use it to screw up someone's chaplain or apothecary or sanguinary ancient or whatever annoying buff character they had sitting at the back there. So from that point of view, this would be good for messing up some AdMech as well. Getting rid of one of their key buff characters in the middle quite happily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
potentially.
Very true. Yeah. Hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s, and then they've got no invulnerable saves, so they're probably not even getting a save, I imagine.
-3 AP, probably not, no.
Because they're probably on a 4-up save and a 5-up infan, or
Maybe a 6 up
was
or
gonna
whatever.
say, because they always have their 4-up infan on the AdMech characters. Like what is a
Then you
typical
spend a CP
AdMech?
to shoot another one.
Yeah, what is a typical AdMech character's save if they don't, like if their invulnerable save is turned off, for example?
4-up, I want to say.
Like Engisir was one of the 3-up. All right, so they'd save on a 6 maybe on the Engisir. He might actually have a better save than the oh, maybe not.
I mean, that's still a pretty good chance of killing him. He's not rubbish, but I do think he's probably the weakest. I still think his strongest thing is people are scared of him. You know, when you maths it out, he doesn't actually do an awful lot of damage, but people are scared of him and they hide their characters. And if they're hiding things, then already they're reacting to you, and that's a big advantage that you've got.
Yep.
So I think that he's not rubbish. He's just the worst of the assassins for me.
Yeah, I agree
against
with that.
many opponents.
It'd be interesting to actually know if you spent the 5 CPs on them each, 1 CP each turn to shoot twice. So he takes the 10 shots, 10 shots hitting on 2s. You're going to get about 8 or 9 hits. Then you're going to wound on 2s against infantry. So from those 8 or 9 hits, you're probably going to, let's say, make 7 wounds, 7 or 8 on average. So 7 or 8 saves at -3. We already said most of the time they're going to struggle to save at -3. So over the course of the game, on average, you do 2, you do D2, damage 2 because it's a D3. You probably do like 14 wounds over the course of the game. 7 if you don't spend any CP on him. That's probably why he feels undervalued or not that strong. But if you do spend the 5 CP on him, 14 wounds, at that point you're going to get some headshots, right?
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I think you can get his points back if you're fighting someone with a lot of infantry characters, and if you're not fighting people with a lot of infantry characters, you don't bring this guy, you bring somebody else. So you're fighting Nids or something.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that's really going to counter this guy is if people are running a lot of bodyguards, I guess. So, Sisters, Dark Angels.
He'll take a long while to shoot through a unit of Sacrosancts.
Yeah. Well, he'd take the whole game,
Which is
I
fair.
guess.
That's his role. He's not supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can always take out the Sacrosancts with your heavy bolters and stuff in your list, and then let them chew through the characters once they're gone.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're for. So come on, let's rank him. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna say he's a B.
You sure? I don't know here. We might warrant a little bit more consideration.
This seems like the shittest tier list. Have we just got a tier list so we had something on the screen for people to look at? This could have been an audio podcast.
We can decide if you want to order them within B and then decide which is the best and then which deserves to be in the middle and which at the bottom. That would take another 5 minutes of arguing.
I think I'll probably swap Eddie and the Coluxus round.
Really?
All right, so I want to ask you this. In the current meta, as you know it, let's say taking an assassin is a reasonable choice because you get the flexibility of swapping it out for another assassin, and there's one with tools against most things you're going to face, give or take. Which assassin do you take that you think you'll get the most use out of in most games out of these 4?
I think, for me, probably the Calidus. That ignoring invul saves on the melee attacks, the Rain of Confusion, that really short charge. I think that I'd probably, as a generalist, that's the one I'd probably stick in the list that I'd be likely to swap out for one of the other ones.
John?
I'm swaying between the Evisor and the Coluxus. I think I take the Coluxus because she's very difficult to kill. You only hit her on 6s. I can use her to hold, I can leave her on an objective by herself. And just say, shoot me, because I know that you're not going to hit me. So she's 100 points to very safely hold an objective, potentially. I think I take that. I like the idea of the Evisor bounding in and killing 15 Admech Vanguards in a single turn. I really like that idea, but I think I take the Coluxus. What about yourself?
Both of those are good arguments, and I can see all of their points in them, which makes it really interesting that I'm going to disagree and I'm going to go with the Eversaw, because the biggest things that you see ranking and winning tournaments game after game after game at the moment are Admech and Drakari, and you see Sisters up there. All the things will get
but he's best at killing
by an Eversaw charging into them. So I think against today's meta, I would default to the Eversaw and swap it out if I was facing something else.
So really, because if he's too unreliable against too many armies, he's great against the current meta ones. I think. I don't think he's A. They're all B. They're all right.
Okay, all right.
What's his tier list, Tony? Is it a bit shit? Really?
Yeah. Come on, let's move on. It's
Right.
time
Tier list.
for the important thing.
We're gonna have a tier list of tier lists.
Tier listing. No, what was our best tier list? Probably the Forge World one, but nobody watched it. What is it now? Pile of glory pile.
Glory pile.
Okay,
Glory
all right.
pile.
You're
What
the one
are you
who's
doing,
most
people?
enthusiastic about it, Tony. Come on.
I'm always excited about glories.
It's because you've been doing it for the last 2 weeks.
I've been ill. I've been all COVID, disgusting, licking doorknobs to see if I can infect
And
other
how
people.
productive have you been in terms of hobby? Because we all know that when you're ill, that's what you do.
Well, what have I done over the last couple of weeks? I painted that supremacy armor that's been hanging around my neck. John can put a picture up on it on the screen now, if he can be asked. What else have I done? Painted my dreadnought drop pod red, and then I got bored and did something else. I painted this guy. Look, that finally done the more or less done. He's got a couple of touch-ups he's doing. That's my ironclad, and then I've lost his base, and I can't remember where I put it. So he's now at the moment he's still glued to the pot lid that I used.
Okay, excellent. That's good.
I painted this stuff. Look at that. That's I've done my clear coat red for my Tech Marine. It's going to pilot my Thunderhawk that I'm almost certainly never going to finish. So I did lots of hobby things while I was off sick, hacking away. See, I've been busy.
John, have you been doing anything aside from getting ready to move? Is that still?
I have streamed a couple of times, and I've been painting Firstborn Terminators, and it's a very contentious topic.
I was about to say, why you've been painting Terminators?
Is that cool?
Terminators no. Why have you not already got painted Terminators?
Oh, right. So I think I painted a lot of models when I was 14. And apparently 14-year-old John was a terrible, terrible, terrible painter who didn't know about thinning his paints. And I got basically like a bottle of flash and put the flash into like a basin and put like, I don't know, like 1,000 points of models in there, and then got like a, like a nail brush and just went to town with these guys. Some of the models actually still smell of Dettol, basically, because someone told me.
Teach you guys about the joys of BioStrip one of these days.
Yeah,
I'm all about the isopropyl alcohol.
So I am repainting my Terminators that were poor to begin with, and they're very contentious, actually. Everybody that comes into the channel says, why are you not painting Assault Terminators? Why are you not painting Relic Terminators? Because they're cheaper, because of Lightning Claws. But Firstborn Terminators have been doing work for me, and I've been enjoying playing them. Yes, it sucks that they move 5 inches. It legit sucks. It's the same as the Centurions. Like, I think if I wanted to run Centurions again, I'd put them in a Land Raider. But I love the Teleport Homer, and in my last 2 games, I've had some real fun with the Teleport Homer in that the Terminators seem to linger around till the end of the game. Okay. So in like turn 4, I just pick them off the board and go like, if I've got Assassinate, I'm just going to bring down my Terminators 9 inches away from your remaining characters because the board's all sort of thinned out. I'm going to try and make a 9-inch charge, typically with my 1 CP I got in turn 5 to reroll it. So if the battle is always strung out in turn 5, there's always places to drop down your deep striking Terminators. So even if I've only got 2 or 3 Terminators left, I mean, it's still going to be like 10 Chainfist attacks. Good luck. Chainfists are -5, D3 damage, strength 8 or something, +1 to wound. So it's just I've been having fun with them. But it seems to be a very contentious thing. People don't like Blood Angels running Stormbolter Terminators with Chainfists. But see, back in 2nd edition, 3rd edition, they were like a staple. They were like... there was no Sanguinary Guard back when I played in 2nd edition. I used to run Death Company and those Terminators. So it's nice to see the old 20-year-old metal models back on the board.
Terminator meta, you heard it here first.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 3 wounds.
I know your feeling, actually. There's about 1,000 points of Metal Sisters of Battle in there that I stripped and then realised that I had no desire to paint.
eBay, baby, that's what.
Yeah, but say you get a few.
I'm going to paint them one day, but I say that I don't think I've ever sold a model on eBay.
I've just realised, why are you not green screen today, Tony?
Well, I'm off for COVID, so I left all my green screen and that at work. So you've now got my beautiful 2000 AD picture instead, which is literally the back wall of my office. So yeah, it's not that exciting a story. It's at school. The kids have probably drawn penises all over it by now. That's what normally happens when you leave anything in there.
And what have you been up to, Mark?
Yeah, I've actually had a bit of a sort of a break from hobby for a little while because following the tournament I went to a couple of months ago, I got a bit burnt out after the back of that. After all the prep leading up to it, and all the work in there, I was absolutely fucking knackered after those 2 days of tournament. So I just went a bit manure for a while. I've been busy playing Horizon Zero Dawn, which I'm fucking loving, and it's great. I went on holiday for a week with my WoW guild mates to the Netherlands, which was absolutely amazing. And the last week or so, I've started building a bike Primaris chapplane, and I've been buying Stormtroopers and Boba Fett and Ahsoka Tano and 2 Wookiee warriors, and been spraying them in the hope that my local wargaming roleplay mates will let me start running in Star Wars Imperial Assault for them again, because I haven't done that in a while, and I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, great. I have Imperial Assault, and I bought it during the pandemic, and I've not really had a full game of it yet. So
I love that game. It's great. I mean, I'd love to run tabletop roleplay campaigns for my friends, but I struggle writing out and planning and coming up with adventures on the fly and doing things that they do. So a nice pre-written campaign that I can run as the Imperial player for my friends who are playing as the Rebels, and just, right, here's your scenarios, here's what you do, you've got to fight through all of this. It's great. The system's good. The models are all right. It's fun. You play it with the Star Wars music in the background. You put the Imperial March on when you put Darth Vader down on the table. He's one of the few painted models because he's Darth Vader. Why wouldn't you fucking paint Darth Vader? Yeah, it's good.
Can I ask you, have you tried the Imperial Assault app?
No, I have not.
So there's an app, you get it on your iPad, and you would set up your iPad at the end of the table. And I guess you would do it one night, maybe when either you don't want to DM that night, or maybe you lost a player. And the app will play the Empire for you. And when it does exactly just that, it says like spawn an Imperial probe droid at like such and such a square, and it goes like beep 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 beep, you know, like, and it makes all the sound effects. And it's actually, the app is legit. Like, we played it with the app because we only had 3 players and we all wanted to play as Rebels together, you know.
Okay.
And like, I really had good fun with the app, and it keeps progress of your characters and their inventories and everything as you go through the campaign. And
I thought it would be janky and buggy and crap, so I never really wanted to give it a try, because people who make apps for war games tend to be shit, pointing no Games Workshops or anything. But
well, the app will tell you, like, you know, spawn these stormtroopers, move to optimum range within the nearest enemy target, or target the weakest enemy, you know. So it's like, it maybe sometimes you'll get off the hook, because what the app will tell you to do is maybe not the, you know, if you were DMing, you'd be like, yeah, that guy's on 1 health, I'm going to kill him. So sometimes the app might let you away, but it's pretty fun. Okay. And apparently, I haven't done this yet, but I did look into it. Fantasy Flight Games that made Imperial Assault now do a Lord of the Rings game that's the same deal. So it's basically Lord of the Rings, but you're playing as the Fellowship of the Ring, I believe. But there's also the app. So the app will be
Frodo, though, because Frodo was shit.
Yeah, no one wants to be Frodo. Let's be real. But yeah, there's an app for it as well. We all know that
Samwise is a hero. I mean, come on.
I forget the name of the game. I'm going to pull it up on my screen right now, so you guys.
I never come across that. I knew that they'd. I know that Fantasy Flight have done, because they lost the Battlestar license. They can't do any more Battlestar Galactica products or build anymore. So instead, they've got the people who wrote the Battlestar game, and they've now done a game called Unfathomable, which is a Battlestar Galactica board game. But you're on a cruise ship in the middle of nowhere, and Cthulhu monsters are crawling up and infiltrating from the sides. And yeah,
because they used to make some really good 40k games and that, didn't they? Because they used to have the Warhammer license.
They did have the Warhammer license. Yeah. So this is apparently the same. So it's based on the board game Descent, and you make the map from like pre-built map pieces. But this one called Journey to the Middle Earth, I'm pretty sure. You're basically, maybe you aren't playing as the Fellowship, maybe I've made that up, but the idea is that the app is the same. So that if you don't have a DM one night, or you just have less players and you still want to play, you can do it, and the app will give you a reasonably decent experience, I guess. Okay. And the app's actually available for Imperial Assault on Steam as well. So if you didn't have an iPad and you just had a computer there, you could do that too. So
I might give that a look.
Yeah,
I might give Middle Earth a look. I'm not going to trust the app, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess if you were on your own and just wanted, if you know, during the pandemic,
if I'm on my own,
you're not playing
in
a board
house, then I'm not going to be getting an app and playing a board game solo.
Fair enough. Some people like solo board games.
It's not the all-time #1 solo activity amongst men of our age.
I did notice how quick John was to jump to the incognito mode in Chrome.
Oh, it's because any dice
You
caches...
look like you've done that before.
Yeah, I know what incognito mode is. Thanks for pointing that out, so yeah. Yeah, like everybody's been working from home for 6 months, Incognito mode is your friend.
Yeah, how did you get any work done?
I got quite a bit of work done, thank you. All right, so...
If you're watching this, you don't know what we're talking about, good. Leave it that way.
Yeah, leave it that way. Okay.
Look at the terrible picture and forget we just even ever spoke.
Oh yes, let's. Should we talk about it? Are we going to point it out to people?
What, John's nipples?
Yeah, it's not the nipples. It's the cleavage. It's the undershadow that gets me every time.
I'm not going to lie. Colouring in John's nipples on that is one of the most fun things that I've ever done with a paintbrush.
You need to get out more.
I don't know.
Plaster on Sanguinius wing. What are those little black things on the wings?
Oh, I thought it'd be quite fun if he had just had a couple of random black feathers in there. Because it's rather than being like big old angel wings, I thought we'd do more as kind of seagull wings. Or like pigeon wings with it's patched in there. And if you look really closely at the... because I didn't draw this, I'm not going to claim credit for it at all. But the artist who did the book at Mark's feet, she actually wrote the first line of an actual book in there on the hope that somebody would spot it, but I don't think it's high enough res.
Can you zoom in on that? Oh no, if it's not enough res, you won't be able to.
You might be able to.
Not quite.
Not really.
Oh well.
I like...
We'll find out what it is.
I was going to say, I like Mark's impression. He looks thoroughly happy. I feel like that's what you look like when we're telling you that a unit should be A in the tier list, and you're like,
no. That's what I'm looking at. When somebody on the Discord asks a question in the wrong channel about something that's already answered in the FAQ channel. For fuck's sake.
Yeah, he's even got a book in that. What's actually written in that book is the names of people that have asked stuff in the wrong channels.
That's Mark's shit list.
All right. So, do you want to move on to the final part of today's episode?
Let's do this. Let's do this.
The most important, the most likely, the S-class pick.
Absolutely.
Sanguinius tier itself.
All right.
Why the fuck are you considering putting an Ultramarines guy in a Blood Angel list?
Because I've got a stupid £10 voucher that they only given me a month to spend, and there's nothing that I need right now.
I was seriously considering putting him in a proper list. I've been having it in the back of my mind for months now, and I want to work out a way to make him work. And I've been looking forward to this actually, to hear the discussion about how this works.
You've seen the guy that painted Roboute as a Blood Angel, right? Did I show you this?
But I have actually thought about taking my Heresy Sanguinius model, putting him on the field in 40k, and saying this is my stand-in, and I'm using the Guilliman rules because why wouldn't you?
So nice this, maybe I have to actually go through to the website. Yeah, this guy has done
Guilliman.
A pretty cool job.
Guilliman. That's not bad.
On making him feel like...
I say that's not bad. It's better than anything I could do.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? So
I saw one of him that had been painted in white, and I quite liked him painted in white. I thought that looked good.
Sorry, what were you saying, Tony?
Oh, sorry, no, I was saying I think he looks good in gold. I think the armor looks particularly nice once we get rid of that horrible blue.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's special magical Adeptus Mechanicus armor, isn't it, that keeps him alive, and he's still like bleeding to death or something inside the armor.
All right,
I did not realise that Ultramarines got so dicked over that even at this point they still don't have a 9th edition Codex supplement.
They'll get one soon as the second version of Codex Space Marines comes out halfway through the edition. You know it's going to happen.
We whinge about as Blood Angels we got really screwed over being the first one. At least we got one.
It's true.
Do you know what? If we still had our 8th edition one, I don't know. The 8th edition strats we had were pretty much better than what we got in 9th edition.
Well, no, because most of them got removed in that stupid little silly, you're using this document until we release the proper codex thing.
That's true, yeah.
They left us with 2 shit stratagems out of the whole lot, really, didn't they?
The Blood of Baal book, that gave us some good shit.
Yeah, it did.
Okay,
Anyway.
Before then, we were a bit rubbish.
so if you were going to be running
let's move on.
a 380 point Guilliman in a Blood Angels army, where do we stand? So you'd have to take him in his own Supreme Command detachment, right?
You wouldn't have to, but or would you have to? Either
You
way,
would.
you want to do it that way, even if you didn't have to.
And you've got to
because-
make him your warlord as well.
Yeah.
In order to keep as many benefits as you can, you've got to have him in his own detachment, and then not have him in a detachment where there's Blood Angel stuff. You don't want to mix the different sort of unit types within the same detachment, because that way you lose more rules, which you don't really want to do.
Yeah, so you put him in his own detachment. He refunds the CP of his own detachment because you're the warlord, and then you gate 3 additional CP because he is the author of the Codex, apparently.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's why the Codex is shit for Blood Angels, but anyway. Then the 3 command points he gives you there basically let you get a battalion and stay to start on 12 CP, was my understanding of it, right? Because a battalion is normally going to cost you 3 CP, but your warlord can't be in that battalion, so...
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah?
Or you take a patrol or something and gain a CP.
True. Yeah, I guess if you managed to fit the rest of your army into a patrol detachment, you could start on 13 CP.
You know, if you're running Blood Angels, that might be a bit tricky. But if you're running on a Custodes or something, then you easily could fit your whole army into a patrol detachment.
Yeah. Okay, so he has a pretty decent gun, 24 inches rapid fire, 3 strength 6 -1, basically a heavy bolter on crack.
Yep.
And then he has the Emperor's Sword, which is brilliant, strength 8 -4, 3, and then on damage rolls of 6, it's D3 mortal wounds.
On top.
Yeah, and he's
Top of the damages normally.
he's on base of 6 attacks, so when he charges, it's 7 attacks, hitting on 2s, probably wounding on pretty low numbers as well. The Hand of Domination is basically a power fist with no -1 to hit and does a flat 4 damage if you need to be hitting on strength 12, I guess.
Yeah, which is fair.
3 up invulnerable save, and if he does die on a 4 up, he just revives back with D6 mortal wounds out with engagement
50
range.
chance. Yep.
He gives +1 to advance and charge for all Imperium units while they're within 12. Reroll.
And that is why I was looking at him, because that stacks with your Blood Angel +1 to charge.
Yep.
Right there.
Reroll hits of 1 for friendly Imperium units within 12. Reroll morale tests for friendly Imperium units that are within 12. I don't think you can typically reroll morale tests at all now, right? They changed that, so because they know no fear used to let us reroll morale tests. That's gone now, so this is actually, pretty good, I guess.
Yeah.
A little bit about Ultramarines, I guess, which we don't really care
Give any
about.
fucks about whatsoever.
And then he must always be your warlord, I guess. And I guess he would have his warlord trait, but I guess
He will have his warlord trait. It won't benefit us in the slightest.
Yeah, so I guess it just means he is an infantry. No, he's a character, monster.
He's
actually.
a monster. Yeah,
Okay, so it
but
doesn't-
he is only 9 wounds, so he can be protected by Lookout Sir.
Yeah. So 380 points, move 8, T6, 9 wounds, 2+ save, 3+ invulnerable save, which we don't see very often. Period at all now in 9th edition. Maybe Custodes, we see that. Chance of coming back to life. And the one thing that I want to say about the rerolls is there's no core or character bullshit on his rerolls. His is just rerolls of 1. So if you wanted to run Tony, you wanted to run 3 Leviathan Dreadnoughts. Normally there's no way you can get rerolls on those Leviathans. Well, hello Guilliman, I'm going to reroll all our 1s on those Leviathans, you know?
Because his rules predate core, because they're an old 8th edition rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think where he's really valuable is when you start re-rolling 1s on things like Knights.
Or,
They've got no way of getting re-rolls.
or Falchion super heavy tanks.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking he looks interesting. Or Falchion super heavy tanks backed up by, I don't know, a couple of Contemptor Volkites because they're broken as fuck.
Yeah, as well.
I played them now 2 or 3 times this week. I don't know if you guys saw the game this week, but in turn 1 at 45 inches range, the Volkite Contemptor deleted a whole squad of attack bikes. Just deleted it in turn 1. And I was just like, yeah, okay. I actually felt bad for the opponent. I was like, I'm sorry. I knew Volkite Contemptors were pretty powerful, but they are damn right broken. So
very tasty. Which means that they're going to get points hiked soon. It ain't going to last long. But
Yeah.
Yeah, or they're going to get Legend or something ridiculous like that. Like they did with the Chaplain Dreadnought when that started stomping the meta towards the end of 8th.
Yep. So what about what we lose if we include the detachment that has Guilliman in it, and then we built a standard Blood Angels battalion to go with? What would we actually lose? So, Mark,
You
you
lose
the
Savage
ex-
Echoes.
You lose Savage Echoes.
You're
You
the
lose
expert
the
here, yeah.
Super Doctrine for Blood Angels. You lose the extra attack during the Assault Doctrine when you charge as Blood Angels.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the
And I-
only thing you lose. You keep all the normal doctrines. Assuming all your Blood Angels are within their own detachment, you keep your normal Blood Angel chapter tactic. So
You lose secondaries. You lose
yeah, you
access
lose
to
access to
Blood
Blood Angel
Angels
secondaries.
secondaries. But
Yeah,
most
and this
Blood
goes
Angels
for
players...
You know, this goes for all Space Marine armies as well.
Yeah.
All you're going to lose is your Super Doctrine. So if you've got Raven Guard or whatever, you can really bring him in there. You can bring him in for all the others as well. What you're going to lose is your kind of your faction. If you bring him in with Sisters or something, then it's going to be a bigger penalty. But because he's still a Astartes, we still get our combat doctrines, and that's quite important. Whereas Knights, although I don't think they've got any extra bonus bits, but Sisters certainly do. They've got
he
War Gun
benefits
fail
Knights a very great deal at the moment, at least.
anyway. Custodes, he benefits them quite a bit at the moment, potentially.
And you gain a beat stick with a lot of buffs and a lot of auras. They're not like 6-inch auras. They're fucking 12-inch auras around this guy. So that's a 24-inch bubble. That's bloody huge. That will cover a massive amount of the board, which is great. I can honestly see some situations in which bringing him in a Blood Angel army and having +2 to charge when you're next to him is going to be very useful. And you've got a beat stick just sitting there saying, come at me, bro.
Yeah.
Which is really disappointing because he's Guilliman.
Yeah, which is like... Yeah, don't get me started
He's a lot
on
of
why
points,
we need a new character. Don't get me started.
Do we need new characters, John?
Yes.
Do you want to make Dante great again?
I want to make any of our characters... How about let's make any of our Blood Angels characters good again. Would that be fair to say? Like,
All right, so we didn't want to get John started. What else are we going to talk about?
We're going.
There are no Ultramarine stratagems. We would gain access to Ultramarine stratagems by including an Ultramarine model in the army, so that is theoretically possible. However, none of the Ultramarine strats are useful. I did rent through every single one of them in the app, and they all benefit your Ultramarine units or your models or your troops or your tanks or whatever. None of them would be of any use to buff him. So don't waste your time.
he could honor the chapter though, right? So if there's some
Oh
way
yeah,
that
that's a Space Marine strat. That's
killed
not an
him?
Ultramarine strat.
If by some
Probably worth
miracle they
doing.
managed to kill him, could he honor the chapter and then on a 4+ come back?
Yeah.
I feel like he could, right?
Yeah.
There's
Really,
no
because
reason why not.
Honor the Chapter would immediately come into effect here. So let's say, I don't know, a Satan or something that ignores all his invuln saves managed to charge him and kill him. Well, then he could honor the chapter, kill it back, and then on the 4+ come back anyway.
I don't see any reason why you
I
wouldn't
mean, it's risky,
be able
it's
to
a 4+.
activate them in that order. But
Mhm.
yeah. Well, I mean, if you honor the chapter, you've not fought and you're dead, so you've got nothing to.
Yeah, you got nothing to lose.
Yeah. Armor of Fate happens at the end of the phase, so that'll be after Honor the Chapter anyway.
Yeah,
Cool.
the face. Yeah, fair point. Good shout. Yeah,
So, are we sold?
380 points is a lot of points.
380 points. Where does he go? A, B,
What are you going to get
C,
for
or
380
D?
points in your army that you're going to take out to put him in? That's what 2-3 units of Sandguard.
2
Depending on how
decent
big the
sized
units are.
units. Yeah.
That's a Storm Raven. Could your list cope without that Storm Raven?
Could your list cope without 2 dreadnoughts? How much is a dreadnought now?
Get out.
Yeah, Dreadnought is 185 points, a Redemptor Dreadnought. So
All right,
he is,
so
he's
he's
Redemptor.
2 Redemptor dreadnoughts.
Yeah.
If you're swapping, because I know you're thinking about bringing that stupid list with the Falchion and Roboute Guilliman. If you've got the Falchion, you don't really need the Dreadnought shooting, do you?
No, not if the Falchion's re-rolling its 1s and hitting on 2s. No, I would say that you're pretty golden, I guess.
And then you've got Guilliman there to just say, "Come on, charge me! Come on, charge me!"
Yeah, I think with +1 to advance and charge rolls, you would actually be moving the Falchion up the board because the falchion's going to get rerolls on charge and combat as well. It can fall back and shoot, so why would you not just be charging with it?
Just run them all over them. Just put him on top of it. He can ride around on the top.
Yeah,
And,
with his waving his sword, going, yeah.
Yarrick's got the Fortress of Arrogance or whatever. Bobby G's got a Falchion of Supreme Beardy Cheeseness.
Yeah.
You're gonna hit on 5s, re-rolling 1s, but you get 7 attacks, and you're strength 8 minus 2 d3. I mean, it's not inconsequential, Like you could actually kill characters with it.
I think he's a solid B.
He's definitely a B. I can see uses in which I'd put him in an army. Would we put him above or below assassins at this point?
If I was playing Ultramarines, I'd put him in A.
Okay, thanks for that. Cheers. That's good. That is, yeah. Well reasoned input there.
But he's going to variety, isn't it? Depends who you're playing as. We're looking at it from Blood Angel's point of view, and I think he's probably sitting in a B. You don't lose an awful lot by bringing him. Savage Echoes is nice, but it's not the be all and end all.
Yeah. Ultimately, if you're happy to lose Savage Echoes, he's not bad to bring at all. But if you're happy to lose Savage Echoes, you're probably playing a less melee army than most people who are playing Blood Angels would be.
Or something stupid.
Like a super heavy Falchion tank, for example. Yeah.
Yeah.
You say that's something stupid. That Falcon tank is like 10-0 this edition. # win streak. You know that, right?
No one knows that. I don't think you've ever mentioned it before.
No, I've not mentioned it. Fuck.
Mark, you got a drink. You're going to have to do it twice because I've run out of...
Okay.
How good would that be? Like...
I'd love to read it about it in MetaWatch.
I was going to...
Oh, fuck.
I was going to say, I have a bone to pick with that MetaWatch email. Anyway,
right, we need to start wrapping it up.
Yeah, we do. But how good would it be? Like we look at the tournament winning lists weekly on the channel or whatnot, and we have like all these like melee-centric Blood Angel lists doing really well. I really want to be the guy that posts the video and be like, I won the grand tournament, and here's my list of 600 point super heavy Blood Angels tank and a Tech Marine and Roboute Guilliman to buff them, and people are just going to be like, oh my god, like what a fucking idiot.
That'd be hilarious.
It would be hilarious,
that'd be
wouldn't
wonderful.
it?
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
You should. I really think you should.
All right. Thank you so much for watching this week. I hope you enjoyed. I think we provided some useful.
If you didn't, then don't tell us. Just move on.
We read every comment, but if you're mean to us, you'll hurt our feelings.
This isn't like the Blood Angel Commander one where we reply politely to every comment. In this one, you're going to catch some fucking flack.
Harsh.
This is not just because I've been forced down a shitload of alcohol due to Tony and yeah, whatever. Moving on. Hey, we're great. Yeah.
All right, we will see you next time.
Dig an even deeper hole
before it gets any worse.
Every episode, you're gonna have to guess what's coming because we're guessing as well.
Yeah,
we'll see.
If you want to suggest stuff, that would be fun.
Yeah,
we're not going deep this week because it just got far too innuendo-y and it was dull as all fuck.
So suggest what you'd like future videos in the comments. That would be great, and be nice because otherwise you'll hurt Tony's feelings. We'll catch you next time.
I'm a gentle soul.
He's very sensitive.
Bye bye, everybody.
Spots.
Bye.
Yeah, let's end this.
Bye bye.